Welcome to this video. This is not going to be a video essay. However, we will analyze my physical appearance, which is the phenotype, with the phenotype of this indigenous person, which is a woman, an ethnic race which I stem from partially. This woman and I are very similar. In Puerto Rico, they say that we are Spanish, but we are also TAÍNO, which is the Native Americans. We are indigenous. And here, I'm just in the first one. I'm trying to see the level of my cheekbones versus her cheekbones, but I didn't get to a conclusion. I don't remember. But here, I'm just overlapping her face with my face, and let's see what are the differences. As you can see, my eyes and her eyes are very Eurasian like. My eyes are very Eurasian. You have to understand that this is what made me question, was I Portuguese or Spanish really? Because I kind of have these features that are Native American. They truly are. And I was like, well, so let's put these two photos, stickers, and let's overlap them to see what is the similarity between them. In the end, that's what made me presume that I wasn't fully Spanish or something like that. I was like, okay, then I should have some indigenous ancestry, don't I? Because of the way that I look, and it happens to be the case. So here I'm gonna mix the proportions of the skull. As you can see, I even though she should be way smaller of a individual of a person, see how I'm matching the head? I'm accounting for my hair, which is it should be a little bit more higher up than hers, and her her chin and my chin are being leveled almost identically, and I'm trying to get a sense of our cheekbones where do our cheekbones are. First, I'm gonna measure both pictures by leveling the eyes. I got the eyes leveled right here, as you could see. So I'm gonna probably copy that or something. Or I'll tell you right now what I'm gonna do, but I think I'm analyzing. Oh, I'm shrinking. I'm shrinking that little stick to a proportion that could now help me level the noses, because they say, okay, this is one thing. They say that they say something about the nose ridge, about the indigenous. I got that ridge over there, like very high up. And then they say that the nose of the indigenous people is a little bit higher than normal people. And in this scenario, in this review, as we are trying to analyze, you can see that our noses kind of match. I think they are pretty much leveled, so that's a pretty good indication, a pretty strong ethnic indication. I'm gonna measure the chins, la chiva, to see if they are in the right spot. I'm a man, so my chin should be, just a bit more uh, robust than hers. So remember, she's a 100% Arahuaco. What I'm presuming is that this lady she's from Cuba. So that means that her ancestry is high on the Arahuaco that have the noses that are not as broad. I think that my indigenous had some mixtures where the noses were a little, just a little bit more broader. This has to do with Austronesian. Oh, and here, I'm sorry, I just got a little bit, uh, but I forgot. But when I aligned the nose ridges, you can clearly see how our cheekbones are pretty much in the same spot. I don't know if she's a little bit skinnier, but or if that's a factor, but it shouldn't be. Her cheekbones are in the same spot as my cheekbones. The difference is that her cheekbones are just a little bit more broader, maybe 2%, 3%, just a few percentages more broader than my cheekbones. Now let's see what else I am doing here. I am leveling the eyebrows because there is aspects of the eyebrow muscles that are also indigenous. I've been with people and they look at my forehead and they look at my head, and especially my forehead, like my facial features onto the muscles that frown and the muscles that are of the eyebrows. And people say that my eyebrows look indigenous, like they have that indigenous flair. Oh, yeah, yeah. I can see in you where you tell me that you have your indigenous ancestry, because people would originally think that my ancestry is maybe straight from the Arabian Peninsula, but that's just not the truth. I have absolutely no ancestry derived from the Arabian Peninsula. You have to understand. I am Spanish, Portuguese, a little bit, tiny bit of African. But my second highest ethnicity is Indigenous American. This is where I'm getting a lot of that indigenous ancestry. If you can see, if you can compare this lady with my facial features, you can clearly notice that even though that I am like 25% Taino, I think that the highest I could be is like 30 or something like that. The highest that I could possibly be. That doesn't mean that I'm not more Eurasian than 30%, because I have clearly made videos where I have clearly stated that I am well above 40% Eurasian. For some reason, I'm very high in ancient North Eurasian because I have the mixture of Africans. So that should take away from the admixture of the Spanish and the Portuguese and the indigenous peoples of Puerto Rico that grant me more ancestral ancient North Eurasian, ancestral Eurasian DNA that it grants me. Well, why do I have it so high if I have, let's say, 15% African? So why is it so high? So what I am thinking is that maybe all of these tests are doing this wrong, and I'm really more like 30% Taino. Really, 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 I think I'm more like 30%, around that range. It could be 27, but more around that range. And here, at this point of the analysis, I'm just seeing shades that could possibly lead me to a comparison with her skin color. She looks like she's very dark skinned. So let's compare my skin with her skin, and it truly seems like none of these filters are actually reaching the level of dark skin that she's portraying. So I think that she is brown in complexion. I think she's actually kind of brown in comparison to my skin color, which is very light in comparison to somebody who is, I don't know, maybe black or African. But my skin color is derived from indigenous people. My skin color is, I would say, is dark olive. That's my skin color. Even though I can be 10 years without taking sun, and I can still have even though being my skin so light, I would still have a shade of like this dark olive color, even though if I would never take sun. But when I take sun, my skin color thus becomes totally brownish, kind of reddish, but it looks Native American, because I have seen and compared a whole bunch of images and peoples and a whole bunch of genetic tests that I have done, and comparisons. And there seems to be a difference between the skin complexion of Native Americans and these Africans. So here I'm just looking for the shades, and none of them are working. One of the factors is that the picture taken from that era, from that time, might give her a little bit of that darkness from maybe some I don't know, but I do not seem to be getting that sort of skin color. And here you can clearly see my Eurasian phenotypes within my eyes. If you can see it, my right eye is extremely almond like, and then my left eye is being hidden by a monolith. You can call that the eye bags or whatever you want to call it. But these are features that, if you see pure Native Americans like this lady, pure Native Americans may express Eurasian features exactly as I am expressing them. Exactly. They are not totally Chinese. I'm not totally Chinese. I'm actually very Portuguese. But still, with that being said, look at how similar we are. Us Boricua definitely have indigenous ancestry.